I guess we all want to capture great images, and this requires the best gear we can afford. But we also don't want to waste our money. A crop factor camera is cheaper compared to a full frame camera. The lenses get more expensive too, but full frame cameras have a reputation of being better. This can be a challenging choice and not as straightforward as you might think. I use a full frame camera. However, there's a major downside to it. I love the better noise handling you get from a full frame camera. It gives me many more opportunities to shoot using higher ISO values, which is necessary in wildlife photography. The downside of full frame is when it comes to the reach you get. Because the sensor is larger on a full frame camera than a crop factor camera, you get a wider field of view. In other words, on a crop factor camera, you seem to get closer to the subject using the same focal length. I definitely think there's a woodpecker's nest just over here. So I think I'll go back and get the tent or like the ghillie net and see if I can get a little bit closer without disturbing anyone. Crop sensors or APS-C cameras in general have a crop factor of 1.5. This means that you get 1.5 times closer to the subject. In wildlife photography, getting close enough to your subject is one of the biggest challenges. To get just as close with a full frame camera, you need to crop in post. If you shoot with a 24 megapixel full frame camera and crop in to get the same reach, you are left with an image that is more like 16 megapixels. With a full frame camera, you need more megapixels. So why don't you just use a crop factor camera? It has smaller sensors, and this equals smaller pixels. Larger pixels in full frame camera sensors can absorb more light. This is important in wildlife, nighttime photography and event photography indoor with limited light. Because you often get closer with a full frame camera, you'll also perceive it to have a better depth of field rendering, but this is because you get closer to your subject. It naturally gives you a more narrow depth of field. For me, photography is not about megapixels, but the ability to capture a moment in nature that I can look back at and remember, or I can share with others. The thrill of experiencing the animals up close and capturing that moment. But of course, I want the best image quality. Because I often shoot in low light, a full frame camera is the best choice for me. But it might not be for others. Maybe you don't need it. It depends on what you want and when you shoot. If you don't shoot near the edge of daylight, you likely don't need it. I think many forget to think about the difference in megapixels you need when you go full frame. So remember to get the extra megapixels that make up for the loss in reach. And then you won't ever look back. If you think you'll switch to full frame at some point, then you might buy full frame lenses from the start and use them on your crop factor camera. This makes it much easier to switch and cheaper in the long run. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the subscribe button and give it a thumbs up. See you in the next video.